Hey third graders, welcome to another math lesson with Mr. G. We worked so hard at doing so many different topics over the quarantine, from area to multiplication and division practice, and the last couple of weeks with fractions. During this last week, we're going to have some fun with math. We're going to be doing some games, some puzzles, and even some art. So this activity we're going to be playing today is called Guess the Number. And it's kind of like a number puzzle. So these things Mr. G used to do a lot when I was younger, and I thought it would be really fun to kind of try these things out with you all and see how you like it at home. And I'm going to teach you a way how at the end you can even try and make a number puzzle to try and trick and challenge someone in your family, maybe a sibling, or maybe even one of your parents, or maybe one of your teachers. I really encourage you to try and give me some math puzzles. I really like trying to solve them. If you want to go ahead and make your own. And let's go ahead and get into Guess the Number. All right, so here is the guess the number example that I'm gonna go through with you right now. So the whole object of this game is there's gonna be a number that Mr. G has in his head. And for this one, I actually got it offline, so I didn't make this one, but this is one I'm gonna try and solve right in front of you so that you can see how Mr. G is gonna be thinking about it, how I use my chart right here that goes up to 100 to go ahead and solve the number. The one thing I want to tell you right off the bat is the number is between 1 and 100. So if you're thinking of a number greater than 100 or the number 0, that's not going to be the answer. So the number that's going to be the answer to these puzzles is all going to be 1 to 100, and you can find it on this chart right here. So you can think of it as kind of like an elimination game. You want to get rid of numbers that you don't think are going to be the right answer. Are you for sure? No, aren't the right answer. For example, let's get into this number puzzle right here. We're trying to find the one number out of all 100 of these that is the answer, and we're going to use these hints right here to try and find and eliminate one. So they're actually pretty fun, and they're a really cool challenge after we've done so much math throughout the weeks. So one thing Mr. G is going to do right off the bat to go and help me start eliminating some of these numbers is I'm going to read a hint, and I'm going to look at my hundreds chart over here, and I'm going to start blocking out and crossing out numbers rather that I know aren't going to be the answer, so that I can narrow my selection down smaller and smaller so that I can start figuring out the puzzle. So for example, my first clue is the number is greater than 25. So I know that all the numbers that are less than 25 and even the number 25 cannot be the answer. So I'm going to go ahead and block off 1 to 10, 11 to 20, and 21 to 25. So I'm going to do that by just going over here to the shapes. And since it is a area grid of a square, you can use the square tool and it'll fill out quite nicely. So as I said again, I can cross out all of these. I can cross out these ones as well. So all of these I know are not going to be any of the answers. So now I've already narrowed down my selection even more. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and look at my next clue. The number is less than 50. So I know that all the numbers 50 and greater are now out of it. So this is helping me out a ton because look, I can cross out all of these numbers now. 51 all the way to 100. I know all of these numbers are greater than 50, so I can cross them out and can even cross out the number 50 because I know that one is exactly, as it said over here, the number is less than 50, so it can't be 50 exactly either. So now I'm only working with a small percentage of numbers right here. So I've narrowed it down even more to only 10, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 numbers to work with. Look at that. All right, next clue is the number is an odd number. So that cuts some of these numbers in half. So remember, an even number is anything that starts with a 2. I mean, that ends, sorry, an even number is anything that ends with a 2, 4, 6, 8, or a 0. So I know this has a 6, an 8, a 0, and you can kind of look as a pattern. So these numbers, these numbers, these numbers, these numbers, these numbers are all even. An odd number is any number that is opposite of an even number. So any number that ends with a 1, a 3, a 5, a 7, or a 9. So 1s, 3s, 5s, 7s, and 9. So we know the number is an odd number. So I'm going to go ahead and cross out all of my evens. So let's go ahead to the shapes again. Cross out my evens that I know aren't the answer. So this isn't it. This isn't it. This isn't it. This isn't it. So some of you might be thinking, Mr. G, what if I already know what the number is? Do I have to do all this? No, you don't have to do all this. You can just, if you can use your head and just imagine crossing out the numbers like that, that's totally fine. But for some of you that really like to see it and think of it like a game where you're crossing out these numbers, eliminating them, kind of like that video game some of you play where there's 100 of you and you're eliminating them one by one, right? Until you get to the one number that wins. So you can go ahead and start crossing out numbers until you get to the one number that wins. So over here, now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 numbers left. So let's use my last two hints to see if I can find out. So my next hint is if you count by fives, you say the number. So I'm gonna go ahead and I know that if I count by fives, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. So I know it's between these two now. So I can cross out these and these really easy. I can just make these boxes bigger now because I know that it is a number that I say when I count by five. So it's either 35 or 45. And last one, my last hint, you add the two digits of the number together, it equals 8. So what a digit is, remember, is the numbers that make up the number. So a digit in this case would be 4 and 5 and 3 and 5. So if I add 4 plus 5, that gives me 5 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, it gives me 9. So that's the sum of 4 plus 5 is 9, and that is not going to be my answer. But let's make sure 35 is the right one, even though I know I can eliminate this one right off the bat. 3 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gives me 8. So the sum of the digits, 3 plus 5 equals 8. So I know my number and my answer is 35. So I can cross this one out. And just for fun, why don't I go ahead and circle this one as the winner? Transparent, and let's make it red for fun. So 35 is my answer. So I can write right here, I think the number is 35. That's how I solved that number puzzle. So I'm gonna go ahead and double check and look through all my hints to make sure that my number 35, it's true for all these statements. So the number is greater than 25. Yes, 35 is more than 25. The number is less than 50. Yep, 35 is less than 50. The number is an odd number. Again, an odd number has a 1, a 3, a 5, a 7, or a 9 at the end. So this one has a 5 at the end, it's an odd number. Next is, if you count by fives, you say the number. So counting by fives, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. I get 35. That is the number I get when I count by fives. And lastly, if you add the two digits of the number together, it equals 8. So a lot of the questions in this are going to ask you to look at the two digits of the number. So 3 and 5 are the two digits. And if I add 3 plus 5, I get 8. So the number 35 makes all of these statements true. So I know this is my answer. So I solved this number puzzle. So it took some time, it took some work, but these can be really fun and really engaging. And it's, fun for people of all ages. I still get challenged by them. And I think it'll be a cool thing to do to challenge someone in your home or even your teacher. I would love to get challenged. Give me some more, please. A number puzzle at the end. So once you go ahead and you finish all the ones Mr. G made for you, you can go here at the end and you can make your own number puzzle or challenge your teacher or parent. So right over here, you can write your little hints and your answer. Don't fill out this part. This is going to be for whoever you give this to solve. So leave this blank, but give them some hints. So the instructions are, you just pick whatever your favorite number is, 1 to 100, then start writing in clues. The number is less than 100, but the number is greater than 8. I also use some cool examples in some of these. You can use multiplication in some. You can use some really weird hints, like you have to subtract the two digits to get it. And you're just gonna have to keep writing clues until you can easily guess your number. So I'd at least give them 4 or 5 clues as to what your number is, and make sure that you can get your number when you start doing the number puzzle over again. For example, if I were gonna make this number puzzle, I made sure for all my number puzzles that I could go back and solve them myself, that they were actually solvable. If your number puzzle has multiple numbers it's impossible for someone to solve because it maybe has like 5 different answers it could be. So after you do all of your instructions, go ahead and go back and try and solve your number puzzle yourself and see if you can get that number that you wanted to get. All right. So I hope everyone has fun with these number puzzles. Our last lesson is going to be a math kind of art creation project, and I'm really excited to show you what that's about. But until next time, I'll see you later.